It's that time of year again, isn't it? Shoot. Okay. The door. I grabbed tape off of the poster board. You can't even see that. That's too low.
Hello people, this is Power here with the end of the year update video. So first of all, obviously big apologies to the fact I'm wearing a summer magic shirt. It's not summer, it's winter. And obviously we have to apologize for the fact that I don't have birthday. I don't have my versions of birthday in yet. I should probably be getting them within the second week of January, where I should actually have my birthday posters plus my season's greetings. So sorry that the decorations are lacking, but I mean, you know, we at least got some table decorations. We got all Wendy's inclusions from Queendom plus some one from Feel My Rhythm. Anyways, so originally I recorded this on Wednesday at 11 through like 12. However, when I made the community post about it and like Megadong replied to it, he reminded me that I didn't even film an entire section of it because it was way somber, which I need to actually reply to him first of all. Alright, so I just finished replying and such, but anyways, obviously I briefly looked at the previous years, and I just basically talked about, I didn't do a channel review, so that's what we're gonna do first, which I hope is not the bulk of it because of the fact it kind of takes too long to do so. And you know, I feel like this definitely should be quicker. By the way, I forgot to address this. Yes, we have the table back. This is the one that I flipped over, and as you can tell, I broke it. And the thing too is that I did bring over last year's posters too, but I really do not want to bother with so obviously because it's what the channel this is going on, we will talk about just the overall gist of the main channel and what we've did month by month. So obviously we opened the year up with Photocard Supersonic, the official photo card unboxing series, which I had fun with it overall. I would have preferred if I did. Jeez. I would have preferred if it wasn't so rushed, because I filmed it in one night in October. Like the moment I got those packages from Bai, I immediately filmed it, despite the fact that I was supposed to work on like other things. Sorry if I can't even tell if I'm at the center or not. I really can't tell. But so they were filmed in like one day, except for the ending. That was filmed like days before, like the week before the series was gonna get put up, and I didn't even get Josh's approval of using the name Project Unlock until the day before the video got uploaded. So, Photocard Supersonic, it's kind of the first for the main channel to actually have content that's basically for the second channel, but be made for the main channel. That's what Photocard Supersonic basically was, like the first endeavor for that, because the second channel has had a lot of main channel content made for the second channel for that one. So I thought it was kind of time for the main channel to actually get some second channel content, or like second channel feeling content. But yeah, after that, we went through round 3 of Zero One, which was originally supposed to be for August of 2021, but then the basement flood held that off, to which I heavily apologize for that. To which we covered the majority of the movie stuff, plus final stage show, and like just some last arc stuff for Zero One. And then I think we had a rest period before we did round 3 of Zenkaiger, to which, I finished up the remaining gears, recovering the remaining gears and the remaining DX items and such. And then I think after Zenkaiger was the first round of Trigger. And I'll just say this period of videos was kind of weird for me, because it's really awkward for me to film a video the week before it's supposed to get released. Especially like the reviews and demos. That's just honestly really weird for me to do, because I'm so used to filming things in months in advance, or like at least a month before. But like Zenkaiger and Trigger, I filmed the week or two before. It was really weird, but at the same time, I actually felt very, what's the word? I felt like I was very productive. And then we had another rest period, but then for the last week of March, we finally got to debut Nonsense of the PowerRider. I've always wanted to do an April Fool's themed week or day and such. I think I originally planned it in 2019, but I was dumb and announced it right away. So I had to obviously scrap it, because why would you announce the fact that you're doing an April Fool's thing? And also with Nonsense of the PowerRider, it allowed me to test a few things and such. Obviously, like, test the evolution of the channel, with like actually having an intro ever since 2016, and like along with an end card. But at the same time though, Nonsense of the PowerRider was also like a first for the channel. Like there was a lot of first things getting covered on there, like day 1 with the Amazing Spider-Man pencil I got from the dentist a decade ago. That's our first Marvel product. Day 2 with Transformers Animorphs. That was our first Transformers review. Then day 3 with Figma Kamen Rider Sting, our first ever Figma review. Day 4 with Banquet Chicken Alfredo, our first food review. And then last but not least, day 5 with the Lightning Collection Legendary Morpher, our first Lightning Collection product ever covered on the channel and such. But yeah, Nonsense of the PowerRider was really fun for me for the most part. Yeah, I didn't do well, but like, I mean, I had a blast with it. Then April was really packed because it was round 2 of Saber, but unlike most round 2s, Saber took another month, which was just honestly like, wow. Because rarely, only round 2s for the most part only take like a week of reviews and then a week of demos. But like there was just a lot more I had to cover with Saber. It's also just because I decided to cover some of the Candy Toy sets, obviously because I had to set up the Christmas video. But it's also just because, like, why not? May and June was another rest period. June was not supposed to be but it ended up becoming a rest period month. I apologize for that month being weird because the releases were like really weird because it was either, I think for the first 2 weeks. No. So at the first 2 weeks, it was just like whatever, because I just covered stuff that I haven't, like, that didn't really have a place. So, and then, like, for the next 2 weeks, it was weird because, like, I think the week after, it was just only one video, which was the Visitor 3 Triple Changer. And then, like, the week after was, like, a proper, like, video that you would have expected. But, like, I apologize for June just not having much. It was just because I didn't have content. Because at that point, obviously, moving on to July, I had to do Revice. To which Revice was definitely one of the most lax series I've covered. Because I didn't have to stress over of, like, what had to get covered. Like, you know, the abundance of stuff that had to get covered. Obviously, at the end it did, but, like, at the same time, though, it's just, like, you know, they're sets, so it's not going to feel as monotonous to film. But, yeah, Revice at least kind of felt, like, proactive when I was filming that one. And then August was another month of Rider, because we had our 4th round of 0-1, which this one was always planned. Like, obviously, 0-1 was not supposed to be showing up twice, but it ended up doing so. Basically, we finally covered the VSNX stuff, and just some stuff I never got to cover, like Exciting Stag, and the Humigear keys, and such. And then, the last 2 weeks were weird because, or actually 3 weeks, but, I decided to cover Saber again, just because I genuinely didn't know what to fill it up with, and also I was just like, sure, why not, just get this final stage shown, the VSNX stuff out of the way. And also, I had to get the Sound Update edition out, because I wanted to put that one out before Revice ended, just because, I don't want it to be apparent when Geats got released and such. And then September, again, was another rest period, obviously, because we had, like, 2 months worth of reviews, even though it wasn't as jam-packed. But it's also just because September, obviously because it's my birthday month, I tend to try to make September special in terms of videos. I would say that we didn't do well this year either. Like, I mean, last year we didn't even do anything at all, so that was worse. But, this year, like, I just, basically, the special stuff I wanted to do, obviously ended up happening later. But, I just put up backlog and such, but at this point, I decided to utilize the shorts feature for YouTube, and just put stuff out like that, as in commemoration of it being my birthday month and such. And then on my actual birthday, I put up a compilation of clips from unreleased videos from the second channel. Just because I thought that would have been fun to do. And also just for myself. I think you can tell at the majority this is just for myself. Last but not least, we got the last 2 months and a half, which is definitely probably the most jam-packed the channel has been for the year, as I'm talking about this, as I need to actually stop the recording. Alright. October, obviously, after being pushed from last year because I couldn't film it and because I lost half of the footage, Ghost Month. I finally got to cover the majority of Kamen Rider Ghost, which was really fun because Ghost is one of my favorite toy lines, like, gimmick-wise. Figures are kind of different, but like, roleplay-wise, Ghost is one of my favorites. So I was really happy just to breeze through all those icons and such. Obviously, 4 items were obviously eliminated. I don't have Sin Spectre. The other 3, you would see them. You're gonna see them. 2 of them are already recorded and such. Those are being held off for a special themed week. or two. Obviously, the last one we'll get to later. And then for November, we covered round 4 of Geo. I think it's been 2 years since I've covered a Geo product, which is pretty funny. Obviously, I think this initially was done because of Geo versus Decade and Decade versus Geo. Because obviously I wanted to get the Neo Decade stuff. But then, the cores resets happened, and that just happened to like help round out that entire lineup and such. Then December, we did round 2 of Trigger, which I think is the first time again, it's just like this year is just like the first time and like on the channel where 2 series got to reappear twice, which was 0-1 and Trigger. Trigger honestly surprised me that it was actually going to come back to the end of the year because everything just managed to work like that. But also was one of the most monotonous filming sessions I've had just because it's just me sitting there waiting for the LED to go out or just like pressing the button, having to wait for the LED or having to let the BGM play out and such, and it's just like, woo. And now we're where we're currently at with our rest period and such, which, surprisingly there's not as much backlog that I was expecting, but yeah, that's basically mostly the roundout for the main channel. Obviously, I forgot to mention some specific videos, just like, for example, another series that is in line with Full Card Supersonic of second channel content made for the main channel, being PowerRider's written reviews, a subsidiary towards the PowerRider reviews. As with this series, I want to cover products such as like, the 2 figures of Zenkaiser and Don Momotaro. Like, I want to cover products that I don't think deserve me just sitting behind the camera and just fiddling around with it and like stumbling on my words. I think products like premium products, I think, deserve a well organized and well shot, well knowledge of cinematography coming down to me, wow. But like, I think those products deserve like the high quality of being presentation and such, which is why I have decided to do this series, despite the fact that it's very similar to another series on the second channel. But we have 2 entries with Dynamite Red. I'm not going to spoil anything if you haven't watched that one. And the Kamen Revice CD box, the Halloween special. Just because I thought those 2 entries will be great. And there are more planned. There was supposed to be a 3rd one this month, but I haven't been in Walmart for like several months, and like every time people or like my siblings go to Walmart, they don't bother getting it for me. So it's just like, come on, I just want to get this one over with. It's really obvious what this 3rd one's gonna be. And then obviously another big thing that should have gotten mentioned a while ago, the live streams. That's kind of like one of the biggest things with this year. Zrekin and I finally have decided to do live streams and such, because it's been a thing Zrekin's been wanting to do for a while. For the most part, we try to do them monthly. It's just that within June, Zrekin didn't have anywhere to like stream. So we had to hold that off. And then I don't think we streamed in August either. October, I don't know what happened as to why we didn't stream, or why I didn't stream in October. I think I was supposed to. It's just, I think it was just because I was busy with filming Geo. And like editing Ghost, because I forgot I didn't bother holding it out or like getting it done right away. But obviously the streams were a mix of build streams and then me doing unboxing streams, and then for the 10th stream I decided to do a reaction stream because why not? Even though it was kind of awkward, especially because why would you stream at 1 a.m.? But I at least had fun doing that one, despite the fact it was just me talking to myself. Other than that, there were there was just smaller stuff that occurred. Like, obviously, like, I'm not going to bring up, like, the monthly unboxings, or they're not even monthly anymore because they're, like, every 3 months now. But, going back to September, because I forgot to bring it up, but, like, obviously, because I forgot to bring this up, obviously, I stated that, like, we technically didn't do anything special in, like, commemoration of my legality of legalism. So obviously, like, we had the unboxing spectaculars, which I feel like I should probably actually explain the unboxing spectaculars, because I think some people will probably be confused as to why. If, you know, some people will definitely get confused of whether or not it's actually a separate series. But yeah, unboxing spectaculars, the Power unboxing spectaculars are they're an offshoot from the typical unboxings, because obviously unboxing spectaculars are just basically me unboxing things that you don't care for. I mean, for the most part, it's just unboxing spectaculars are mostly just buy or like album unboxings and such. Yeah, unboxing spectaculars basically allow me to actually, you know, become more unhinged with the content, because obviously that's just more fun to do. And, like, you know, with the latest set was a 3-parter, which was through quote-unquote three different mediums, because the first one was a live stream, the second one was actually filmed on this camera, and the third one was filmed on the phone. Like, the third one's a more typical unboxing spectacular, but the second one definitely was fun because I got to do a callback to the first unboxing spectacular and such, which I don't think that was not the intention, because that one wasn't like celebrating anything. It's just like I might as well do a callback to the first one, to the first entry, just because, you know, it's actually like true to its nature instead of just the fact that the audience doesn't know, but I do. Like, this is like a first for both of us. And speaking of that one, I wish I brought that box down. I should have. I knew I forgot. I always forget something. I should have gotten the picture frame. Hopefully that's like everything that like helped, that mostly accommodated the main channel and such. So moving on to the second channel. Obviously the second channel is more sporadic just because of the main channel. So obviously with the beginning of the year, we opened it with our yearly video edit compilation, which was the first one to actually have a thumbnail. Obviously originally the others were supposed to get thumbnails too, but I no longer have the footage. So, and I can't just download it off of my channel, because they're all at 720p. So, yeah, it's not worth it. And then February, we had the second entry of Noun-PowerRider. I think at this point, too, the series now officially got called Noun-PowerRider, with fairies. Basically, it's just me talking about a trend within K-pop performances called ending fairies. Yeah, that one was pretty rushed. And then, like, we had a random page through of the Super Sentai Encyclopedia, which was that one kind of came out of nowhere, because I forgot that video, I think, was now, at this point, for 2 days from now, it's going to be like a year since I filmed that one. Like, I guess I think I wanted to get that one out before the end of Zenkaiger. I think that's why it came out after Fairies, but it should have been before. And then, we did Nonsense to the PowerRider for the main channel. There was an attempt for the second channel, but then that fell apart because of the main channel content for Nonsense of the PowerRider. So, the content for the second channel for Nonsense of the PowerRider fell really flat. The only ones that actually delivered was a short I did, which was like my first time experimenting with the YouTube Shorts feature of like calling like ranking all of Irene's visuals with a singular noun or word or whatever. I had fun with it. I kind of wish I actually did the formatting a lot better, but other than that, like that one was fun. But like everything else kind of got thrown together. And following that, because this wasn't originally supposed to debut right away, but it had to because I didn't have content. Is the tape gonna fall? But I debuted another new series that I forgot I initially wanted to do back in 2020. Because it was the same project file, and I was like, oh yeah, there's these other entries. But yeah, Power's editing session. It's just a series where you get to watch me and my convoluted editing techniques, because it's just, I feel like I've always wanted to try to like present just my editing style and just how I go through the process of making a video and such, because I feel like that's definitely a process that I feel like is worth sharing to the audience and such. Yeah, the Irene short is not really a good choice to do, because it's like, yeah, everyone can do that, which is why I really want to do like a more complicated video. But the issue obviously is trying to get the room to myself and such, because most of the time I'm editing these things at like, at like 12 to like 4 a.m. and such. The big videos and such, I rarely edit in the day unless it's a review and such. I don't know why. And then the channel went on like a rest period until June with the third entry of Noun-PowerRider Summer, just me talking about K-pop songs that I think invoke the feeling of summer. Just to get a video out there, because of the fact 2 months after we finally had a big video pop up on the channel. Not because last year I can't technically consider ranking all Tsukiyomi's outfits the big video. It sadly is the big video of the year, because obviously 2 Kaiser keeps getting delayed, and I'll get to 2 Kaiser. But we had PowerRider's Decisive Trade of the Summer. So this was a co-production between my video production class and I just wanted to get a summer video out there. Because I've done a winter theme video, might as well do summer and such. And obviously I want to just do a bunch of dumb things and like really just show my style, I guess, of like narrative storytelling, because obviously the Size of Summer is basically in the same like feel or the same tone as I did my high school stuff, which as of now I can't show off because those are in a hard drive that fell on the ground. Hopefully someday I can like showcase some part of it, so then you guys actually get a feel of like my narrative structure and such, because those are always videos I want to showcase, but I currently can't, which is why this series, PowerRider series of narratives, got created, because to kind of fill up that empty hole and such. But yeah, Decisive Summer was really fun overall. I have some gripes about it, but other than that, like, it was actually kind of fun to like actually have a crew to like help you with your nonsense. I definitely wanted to give off the feel of very schlocky high school project, despite the fact this is not high school. This was a college final project. And then September, we had our 4th entry of Noun-PowerRider Chap, where I cover a advertising campaign between Red Velvet and Etude House on Lip Locker. Basically, it's just because the entire advertising campaign was an entire parody off of Baby Shark, and I thought it was like the most hilarious thing, even though it's not. Last but not least, unexpectedly, because of the fact we were reaching the 5th entry, and the fact that we were the 5th entry, and that we were going to reach the 1-year anniversary of Noun-PowerRider, I decided to end year 1 off with a bang with Revice, where I go through all the Revice music videos from the CD box, which could have been better. I think the thing that hurt this video the most was Premiere sabotaging me, because so for some reason throughout July and like October, Premiere, for some reason, the renderer just wasn't cooperating, because for some reason, like, that's why with some of the videos, I think from like July through like September, I would say, or no, like July through October, like when it gets to the end card for the review, it will just kind of flicker and such, and then like the end card will like fade in as if there was no other clip attached to it, which was really weird. And like, because it's not like that when I actually, like, before I export it, it transitions like fine, but then for some reason when I exported it, it will like cut and such. But Revice was the last straw, because it ruined an entire section of the video, which was supposed to be a joke, but then the joke got ruined because like things will just cut in and out, things would not even move, things will be like, the frame will be held, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Like, I honestly just generally just want to cut the segment out because of how much Premiere ruined it. But man, so it was because of that I finally was like, okay, I'm gonna look into this, and I finally resolved the issue, luckily. But oh man, I hated it so much. Other than that, I had 2 shorts, one in November and one in December, just because I didn't know what to do with the channel, obviously, because I originally did have a video planned, but well, the one video I had planned, I'm moving it to next week just because things aren't out yet, and also just because I didn't really utilize this week well. It's also, you know, I think it would just be better just to, I mean, not really, but it's just like there's a bunch of things that were supposed to be out, but then sadly aren't. But yeah, I already went through 22 minutes. Let me change out the battery. Yeah, I think that's practically it for like content overview. Twitch, I will definitely say it wasn't bad on both halves and such. So let's talk about the accomplishments we've done over the year. So in my opinion, there's really only like, we only did one thing right. Because I didn't really set any goals, because I don't do that. But like, the only big thing we actually accomplished was the fact that I did reach 1,000 subscribers and such, which is, you know, I really am proud about that. Of just the fact that, you know, I've reached 4 digits. I thought 100 was honestly enough, but like, the fact that I quickly grew to be at 1,303, like, that's honestly pretty good. Like, I was not honestly expecting to even reach past 1,000. The fact I gained 300 more subscribers is really impressive, and I like really appreciate that and such, because, you know, just the fact that like people actually are willing to actually sit through like this content. And like the other one that I'm not too happy to announce about, because I think it was already kind of evident since last month, but the channel did get monetized. I don't know how I got approved, but I did somehow. So like, this is pretty hypocritical on my part, because I initially said all the way back in like 2020 or even like 2018 or so, in like my early years, that I would never get the channel monetized, just because I don't think it's... I still stand by the fact I still stand by the fact that my content's not worthy of being monetized, just because of how cheaply produced and how schlocky. I don't even think I'm pronouncing that word correctly, but like just how poorly done this content is done, just because because of how rushed these videos are, there's always editing mistakes, or like just things left in that shouldn't have been left in and such. And to make money off of that, in my opinion, seems very predatory. You know, I just feel like I should be open about this stuff, especially because I don't agree with it. So I just want to be public about the fact that I'm not really happy about this direction the channel is going, of like actually earning money off of it, because this content does not deserve to rack money off of the poor innocence of the viewers. I don't know, like, we didn't really, again, accomplish anything other, like, any other thing, just because I either didn't have it in mind or it failed. So, I guess speaking of this now, let's just go through, like, what's coming up within 2023, or even, like, the future and such. To which we will start with the second channel, just because it's shorter. Obviously, you guys, I'm well aware, don't care. So, basically, second channel, 2Kaiser. What's happened with this video? 2Kaiser, I did somewhat keep my promise of I did start production on it, and I actually did get people on board with it. The majority of them have already got all their scenes done and such. It's just me that I'm like very held back with it. I filmed the majority of 2Kaiser. I just only need to film two big sections. Then I just need to put it together. I know I should probably already put it together, but again, I'm very reluctant about 2Kaiser, just because it's just not reaching my satisfaction. Which is kind of, I feel like is really a big issue, especially because of the people I got on board with it. So it's just kind of like, I feel really bad. Oh, I mean, I felt really bad getting the people on board within the first place, because I got them at the worst time. So it was just like, I felt like I was putting unnecessary pressure on those people, to which, again, I heavily apologize about the fact that I made you guys do the stuff I told you to do and such. I feel really bad overall. So like, I feel like the issue is like, so 2Kaiser has to get put out because I promised it, but I just feel like at the end of the day, it's just a product I'm not gonna be happy about because of all the unnecessary pressure I put on people. Just like, just them having just the unnecessary stress of them having to be like, oh yeah, I gotta film this stupid thing for PowerRider, and then with me just not liking how my portions are and just the narrative of it. So it's just like I'm just gonna be open and just be like, if Two Kaiser's a mess when it gets released, yeah. The other big one that actually got announced last week because I was impatient, just because I was like, I felt bad of not being able to do a Christmas special, because Two Kaiser isn't out, is that year 2 of Now Dash PowerRider has been confirmed. And the first entry being covered within year 2 is Kwanya. So, Kwanya I thought would have been a really fun topic to cover just because it is a topic that I'm not... I mean, I know like the basics of it, of just being like... It's just SM's weird attempt at trying to do metaverse stuff and such. It seems like a scam. But also it's because of the fact I'm not well versed within NCT or aespa. I only know them via name because I play Superstar SM Town, so I can connect faces to names and such. So I know all 23 members of NCT, despite the fact that I at the time did not listen to any of their music. Now, like, thanks to my oldest sister, she's like helping me get well versed within NCT and aespa and such. I don't want to reveal too much about like what exactly is gonna be occurring in Kwanya. Basically, I guess Kwanya, I would say style wise, is gonna basically be Monster and Revice together. It's basically, let's bring the series back to how it was originally supposed to be, but also bring in like, okay, let's give out some quick thoughts about these things and such. I have, because this was already announced too, of the fact that Kwanya is being split into 2, just because I think it would just be better to do so. Verse 1 of Kwanya is already done. I just need to revise some bits, but verse 2 I'm working on right now, and I'm again in the talks with someone about it. That isn't my oldest sister. But and I promise that Kwanya will actually happen, because again, I'm very prepared for it. And like, again, Now Dash Power is just, again, a lot more simpler to get together, to put together, than like a video for a series of the narratives. So yeah. And I guess speaking of series of the narratives, I don't think I've ever officially gave it that name, because that was supposed to be kept for the 10th anniversary. But yeah, I want to keep this one confidential, but I'll just say that hopefully it occurs by the end of the year. But I feel like at most, with how it's going, it's probably going to happen next year, which is not going to be great. But basically, I'll just say there's a sequel being developed for Decisive Summer, because people clearly wanted that. But yeah, moving on, for the main channel. So like, obviously, I don't want to reveal. There's also just not much to reveal with the main channel, just because it's just basically, okay, here are a series that we're finally going to cover and such. So first of all, I think the first big goal, I mean, by the end of January, like what I said before, we're going to have a dedicated week of Yokai Watch stuff. like the first 3 days will be the Yokai Watch Ogre. No, the first 4 days will be the Yokai Watch Ogre. And then the last 3 days will be the Yokai Watch Type 0 Shinki version S and its corresponding metal packs. I might be able to throw in the blind, like the first set of like the blind bags or the blind packs in if I do receive those either tomorrow or next week. But at the same time though, it's kind of up in the air. Then, following the Yokai Watch week will be, finally, after being completely absent last year, or this year, Dawn Brothers! So, Dawn Brothers got completely omitted this year because of the fact I couldn't obtain the Avatar year sets. And I think that was... because I think the original schedule was I think Dawn Brothers was supposed to be for June. But I couldn't obtain Avataro sets. So, like, Dawn Brothers was just kind of in, like, a weird limbo. But luckily, obviously, because right across from me, I just obtained the Ninjark sword. So, which I will be opening in a stream next week. If I actually do obtain my Amazon Japan packages. But, you know, with Ninjark Sword, I can finally cover the majority of Dawn Brothers. Obviously, this is not including the Dawn Brothers Sentai gear, nor the Zenkaiger 2020 version, because obviously I am getting that one through the Memorial Edition of the Gearlinger, but I still don't have a way of obtaining the Dawn Brothers Sentai gear. So I apologize about that, because I do not want to pick up Enya Ride-On. But yeah, so Dawn Brothers will be a month, because obviously I want to get Dawn Brothers out before it ends and such. And then the following... like, thing on my notes is that I don't have distinctive dates just because I feel like things can change. But I think it's either going to be before or after Dawn Brothers. No, not before, but it's either going to be in March or April. I think March. We're finally going to go back to Saber and cover the Legend Rider books because... we never did because I didn't have Blade and Kabuto at the time. But now, like, because I finally have the full collection, we can finally cover them. And speaking of that too, we're finally going to somewhat round out Ghost with the, obviously, Spectre Cross Blade set and such. You know, for those wondering as to why that was omitted from the Ghost month and such. But also, I'm going to cover Televikun in there because I'm not going to be able to cover more. I'm not going to be able to get any more of the Wonder Ride or the Wonder World storybooks in time. So it's just kind of like... and I need an extra day. Not an extra day. I need to fill out that extra day. So might as well throw in Televikun. And also, this means... that the Wonder Ride book Handana will finally get covered just because of the nature they handled that thing. Because of the fact the core one only came with the 01 book, while, you know, obviously the other one was just blank. But obviously, because of how I handle things, I didn't want to just cover the Wonder Ride book Handana and like have one Legend Rider book already exist and like the others being held back and such. I would rather just cover all those at the same time. So that's why it took 2 years for the Wonder Ride book Handana to finally get a review. Despite the fact you've seen that thing fall during videos multiple times. And those are the two series that are like heavily confirmed, because those are basically the two big series that are getting that are first getting covered in 2023. Other than everything else is kind of not up in the air. Only one of them is. The only other one that I didn't start writing out yet because obviously everything's not out is Geats. Geats will most likely take place in July, but I wouldn't be surprised if I had to delay it to August because of the US releases. Because so far, I think for the premium releases, so because there's the Jamato buckle and like the Rider Core ID set that have like releases in June for the US and such. To which what I know with US releases, they typically take place at the end of the month. So that's not gonna really work out well. So Geats might actually get pushed to August. And then another one that was also written, but I can't really confirm it actually happening this year, is round 2 of Revice. So the issue here is that I actually missed like several pre-orders for Revice just because Riken had to cover his own orders. Like everything else is secured for Revice and such. It's just those 5 things that I think is gonna make it weird that like it's just gonna be weird of not being able to cover like the previous series a year after. Oh, because I can't even get everything for it. And like again, that's kind of practically all the big announcements. Like the only other one I can say is for like October, I kind of want to cover the rest of the DX stuff for Gaim because of it being the 10th anniversary. But that's if I get the Sonic Arrow and 15 Lockseed set in that time. Like I Wendy? No. Taro decided to block Wendy, so we're just going to have him right here. Oh, Wendy can be on the side. I guess, like, you know, going back to the accomplishments, like, I think the other positive thing of the channel this year is that we literally caught up. Like, we actually caught up with a bunch of series. Like, we finished 5 series? For the most part. We finished 01, we finished Geo, we finished Zenkaiger. No, never mind, we didn't. We finished Trigger, Ghost for the most part, but I don't know, Ghost doesn't count. Like, I'm counting series that we've been, like, covering for, like, more than a year. Having a month themed on that series doesn't count. But, yeah. I think there are, like, one-off videos I have planned, but I think they will come around. I don't want to reveal them yet. But yeah, so I think we might as well actually just address the title of the video because we never really acknowledged it at all. Because it's, you know, it sounds monotonous and such. Not monotonous. It sounds What's a pseudonym for mysterious? So yeah, for some reason the figure arts are no longer in focus. That's kind of why I actually remembered to actually use them, because because the camera will actually focus on them. But yeah, so what does the title mean by end of PowerRider? Kind of. Yeah, so we're gonna abruptly rebrand. This rebranding I was kind of back and forth with, because I was fully committed to it, then I wasn't, and now I'm kind of like, eh. And this is all because of like future projects and such that kind of require the name PowerRider. Like again, the sequel to Decisive Summer and such. But at the same time though, it's just kind of like I do kind of want to like forgo the name of PowerRider just cuz for like at least 2 years now, I just felt like the name doesn't really truly belong to me anymore. And I feel like there's a lot of people, much more deserving people, that should have the name PowerRider and such. So like I just want to allow those that want to be named PowerRider to let themselves name themselves PowerRider and such. Because obviously, it's like you kind of have to like think to yourself, it's just like, well, like what exactly is PowerRider? What does PowerRider invoke? And just like what embodiment, like, because like it's just basically me asking questions to myself. It's just like, what exactly does PowerRider embodiment, like what is the embodiment of PowerRider, and like what does PowerRider showcase of me? And it's just kind of nothing, because of the fact PowerRider is such a bland name, first of all, and two, it's just too long of a name to like for those to refer to me as such, because it's 4 syllables. PowerRider. So it's just it's kind of like it doesn't roll off the tongue well when people have to refer to me as such, because it kind of like unnecessarily elongates their statement. And it's also like, again, like it's just kind of like I feel like I've lost the meaning of what PowerRider meant to me and such, because obviously I simply had the name PowerRider because of the fact that when I was young, like Zarkin wants to take credit that he came up with the name, but I came up with it prior. But obviously I came up with PowerRider because of the fact I like Power Rangers and I like Kamen Rider. Boom, PowerRider. But then the Saban trademark happened, and that doomed me. Because that gave access to the name. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure there were people that had the name to begin with, but just the Saban trademark really opened the gates of making that name a lot more common now. And which is kind of problematic, because like obviously if I'm trying to make myself, if I'm trying to like stand myself as like, or if I'm trying to get myself out there, having a name like PowerRider doesn't really help, because they're going to be like, oh, you took that name off of the Saban trademark, and it's just like, I didn't, but alright. And also, again, it's just kind of like, it's just the most generic name you can come up with, and like for someone like me, just to have such a bland name compared to like all of my siblings and such, it just felt wrong. Like again, Zriken has Zriken. Like the moment I say Zriken, you're gonna be like, oh, him. But like with me, you're just gonna be like, PowerRider. Alright. Like there's no uniqueness to PowerRider, because I feel like me, like there's like such a contrast towards me and the name PowerRider and such, because nothing of PowerRider invokes what I do. So it's just kind of like, I thought I just thought like it's probably time just to let the name go to someone else that's more happy with taking that place or taking that title and such. But speaking of that, I say that we're going to harshly transition to a rebrand, because of the fact obviously this wasn't planned. So because basically this is going to be weird, because obviously because of how I title my things. Obviously, the majority of the videos have PowerRider in the name, but if we rebrand, obviously, that's gonna make things awkward. But my deal is that we'll use this year as a transitioning point and such to get people used to it. And I won't change the older content to like erase power. I'm not gonna like erase PowerRider from the channel. Only via branding. But PowerRider, me referring to myself as PowerRider, that will stay through. And especially with pre-recorded videos that will get uploaded in the future. I think we will respect those videos to be me referring to myself as PowerRider. But from this point on, we're gonna move on from referring to myself as PowerRider and such. Let me stop the camera and change out the battery. I feel like every time I like change this out, I'm like moving the camera farther back and such. But like, so it's just kind of like, like I think basically how this is gonna go again is that because I'm definitely gonna have to re-record or like redub some videos, because like for example like the Tycoon ID core, that's when I initially thought I wasn't gonna rebrand, but then things like the Dawn Brothers reviews, or like at least the ones I pre-recorded, those ones are set and such, and I think I have to redub the Yokai Watch ones too, because again, like I'm being indecisive about this. This is why this is like the worst way of rebranding. And it's also again just because I need to, I needed to like change out my like channel icon and like banner, because I haven't changed those in like years. I mean, I haven't changed the main channel one in like 2 years, but the second channel severely needs to get changed. That one's still celebrating the 5th anniversary. Gosh. But, you know, because of this, you might be wondering, like, well, then, like, if you're going to change your name from PowerRider, then what are we going to have to refer to you as and such? And basically, you know, because I still want to keep things simple for myself and like for you guys. You know, we're basically changing the name from PowerRider to just Rider. Rider with a Y now. This specific spelling specifically because back in my senior year in like a creative writing class, I wrote this like dumb screenplay, and I named my main character Rider S Block because it was supposed to be Rider's Block. And I really liked that dumb, that's not a pun. I don't know. I actually felt like, wow, I actually did something creative, even though I'm pretty sure people have come up with that beforehand. But, you know, I was kind of really proud of the name, so I wanted to adapt that name and take it up as my own. I mean, you've already seen it multiple times. It's basically been alluded to since the beginning of this year. So, and then as for username, because obviously I wanted to keep the two distinctive, and just because of the fact to be in line with my siblings of actually having something creative, I decided to go with the username of Susune Su. Obviously, this is actually a shortened version of the original username, because my initial username was Susune, which Su is the fandom Sunny accidentally referred to Soans as, and Susune obviously coming off of the Ojuken Susune, as Susune means like sound and such. But mostly I wanted to put those two words together because I thought it was like a fun tongue twister. Susune. Like, I just thought it was like really fun putting those two together. But then I I came up with Susune Su because I needed a way to have a shorter username, obviously for like specific stuff like for games and such. So I just adapted Susune Su. The second channel will take up that name, but I don't know which channel is actually gonna get the username because I honestly, because I know for the main channel I can't just stick with Ryder because I think Ryder has already been taken. But then I feel like it would be weird for the main channel to have Susune Su and then like the second channel to have, like, okay, so the main channel, for example, will be like Ryder at Susune Su, and then the second channel will be Susune Su at Susune. Like, I feel like that's how things are gonna have to go. At the same time, though, that is kind of weird, definitely. But I mean, yeah. Obviously, social media will update too with this. Which is going to be the first time in a while on Twitter, actually. I'll change my at just because I think the last time I did it was in May of 2015. Speaking of this too, because 2023 will actually be like the 10th anniversary of me having the name PowerRider because of Warframe and such. But because I was kind of like, I should probably keep it for the 10th anniversary, but at the same time, though, it's just kind of like, I do kind of want to move on and just try, like, actually be open about the new name and such, just because, like, I really cannot stand just staying as PowerRider for any much longer. But, hopefully this does alright. Like, hopefully people are understanding about this. I'm probably gonna do a big thread about this on Twitter tomorrow, or after this gets uploaded, because I feel like I'll actually get my words out there a lot better. I know no one's gonna read it, but I just at least want to like get something out about it and such. That's not through me stumbling and such. But other than that, like, good, because I remembered Megadong's comment of, because I keep jumping back and forth and such, of just talking about like any other stuff, because like, I guess for like stuff I want to do eventually, well, I mean, like, obviously I would like to do how, like, in the unboxings and such, like, Reagan and I will have like 2-hour long like conversations and such. It was basically because of that I was kind of like, this would work kind of better as like a podcast. But I haven't really fully developed the idea of a podcast, because I don't know how it's exactly going to run, especially if I want to do it weekly. And also, like, Dragon wants to start trying to upgrade his equipment too, so that might get held back. But I don't even know what to do for a podcast, honestly, just because it's just like, what am I supposed to talk about? Especially if it's by myself, because the thing is that I can have hour-long conversations to myself, but like, that's not going to be like, there's not going to be a structure and such. And then also another thing too that I actually kind of want to do, I just don't know how. I actually kind of want to start reporting on like tokusatsu music news, because I feel like it's something not a lot of people actually like look into, not look into, but like actually like. I feel like it's definitely an area not a lot of people report on and such, because that's why I passionately tweet out about like the details about like an album and such. If I actually am passionate about it and such, I don't do it for everything, because on my Twitter account I try to retweet the majority of the music news. Obviously I skipped out on some, but like I try to tweet out like the majority of it and such. And like I think it would be interesting for me to like report that stuff. I think the issue, like, this will be a second channel thing, but the thing too is that the issue is that, you know, what are you gonna do when there's no news that week? Then you're not gonna have a video and such. So I don't know if it should be like a monthly thing or a weekly thing, but I think it will definitely be interesting of just being able to talk about tokusatsu music, just because I feel like that's something that like not a lot of people really go into, or just like talking about like or like talking about like the releases of things, and or just like how much it really elevates a like scene or something. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure people talk about that, but like, yeah, those were kind of the big two things that are kind of potential. Me reporting on tokusatsu music and a potential podcast of some sorts. I don't know how the podcast again would work. I'm gonna have to talk to Zriken with that and like figure out how and when to like do those things, just because it'll obviously just be in audio format, because I don't think it's worth doing a video for. But yeah, I hope I did well to you in 2022. I don't know where we could go on with 2023, especially with how dire of content there is for 2023. I'm hoping that I can bring in more creative content within the second channel for 2023. Because I just feel like, because I really want to give time for the second channel, or like other like creative endeavors within that channel, than like having to like at the same time focus on like this content too. So it's just kind of like brings me up to this next point that I keep forgetting. So gosh darn it, but like, yeah, so well, I was kind of thinking of like more shifts and changes with content within 2023, because of the fact I think obviously like things like unboxings and openings and such, I think those are gonna fully transition into live streams now. I think all of, like, the unboxings and openings for the most part now will become live streams. Again, this is just because my computer is being weird with how it handles MOV files whenever I move them to my hard drive, and it just like wants to wipe them. Like, I just filmed a Collectibles box unboxing, but like, I don't know, I haven't moved it out yet, but I'm kind of afraid. Like, I'm probably just gonna copy it and just see what happens from there, but like, because the thing is that if this is gonna happen, we're gonna have to just straight up transition to live streams because it's ridiculous. And also, like, you know, live streams unboxing live streams are doing pretty well, and you know, it also helps that the content, like, you know, this helps with the content not being in such a long backlog, but at the same time, then that means there's no filler content for the channel and such. So that's kind of like the devil's advocate, I guess. Not the devil's advocate. That's like kind of like, it's like, okay, the good thing is that you get the content right away, or you get the content with these stuff right away, but at the same time you don't have content for the rest of like certain months and such. So yeah, but at the same time though, like, those months could probably be used to like reserve for the second channel or something like that. I don't know. But I don't know what other things are going to be transitioned as a live stream currently, because I mean the builds is technically the only one that have transitioned. The unboxings are going to end up transitioning just because my computer likes sabotaging me, but I think some, like, obviously the monthly unboxings will still continue being pre-recorded content, but like I feel like some, like, obviously with like some items, like the standalone ones, those ones were probably definitely like to close off a close off like specific series, they will probably still be pre-recorded. Like, for example, the CSM Gaim openings. Like, when we get Helheim, that one will probably be pre-recorded for sure. It just depends if I'll actually be able to actually get the footage. And then I think that's kind of it, because I think CSM Gaim is kind of the last of it, because like obviously the Gokaiger stuff the Gokaiger unboxings are obviously filmed on the camera, so no need to worry about that. And like everything else, like Revice is probably going to get transitioned. I think everything else is going to get transitioned to being live streams and such. I'll probably just like hold a bunch of items up until it's good enough for a stream and such, just so then we can have more streams of just like sitting around playing around with items and such. So I think because it's also just because editing, like obviously editing the pre-recorded ones, they take up a lot of space on my hard drive, and it's just really unnecessary because there are 60 frames. I don't even do much editing. All I do is add transitions. I add some cuts. I edit the audio a bit, and then it's like that's it. Like there's not much editing to those, and so it's just kind of like I won't even mind if I had to sacrifice editing those openings, because honestly those ones actually are kind of annoying, especially because of how long they render and export and such. So just to do them in a stream, and because like those are practically the length of a stream, so it's just kind of like it's not going to be bad if I it's the same thing, it's just now I'm talking to an audience. I don't think they will be through StreamYard, honestly, because I feel like StreamYard should get reserved for like specific things. At the same time though, like I don't know how YouTube's thing works, but also it's like, we can try OBS and such, but I have a webcam, but not for that, because like obviously then I'm gonna have to like angle my laptop really weirdly and such. But yeah, speaking of streams, there will be one. I mean, now I'm kind of indecisive. Like, I'm probably still gonna do it. It's just that I don't know if I'm gonna get anyone on board with it, because I don't think I will be able to. There will be one last stream for the year, end of the year stream, of me watching the SM Town 2023 live concert. That is going to start at 10 Central Standard Time for me. But I think I'll put up the stream up at 9:30 maybe. I'm not gonna be able to like put together a lecture because there's a lot to go over. So I'm not gonna be able to like throw a lecture together, especially because I have to edit this video and continue with other stuff. But that live stream we'll stream through until, I think from what I remember last year, it ends at 1 for like the core stuff. So we will watch it through New Year's and such. Which that will, I guess, definitely be fun. I don't really expect an audience just because of how late it is, because it seems like the 9 p.m. stuff don't do well. It's kind of why with the opening streams, I try my best to stream them in the afternoon and such. But yeah, I think that'll have to do with this update end of the year thing. So I hope you guys are looking forward to the content I have for 2023. 2022 overall, like, I guess viewer base wise was pretty good. Not really great with content, but like we at least got through a bunch of things. Can't wait to show you guys what I have for 2023, especially for the second channel. That had to do with this video. So this is Ryder, and I'll leave people. Bye.